Hundreds of protesters, in fact, stormed the Swedish embassy in central Baghdad in the early hours of Thursday, scaling its walls and also setting it on fire. This was in protest against the incident of the burning of the Koran that was reported out of Sweden. Now, the protests were staged by supporters of religious leader Muqtada Sadr after the Quran was burnt for the second time in Sweden. The protesters barged into the Swedish embassy and set fire to it. In fact, plumes of smoke were seen billowing into the sky over Baghdad. Now, Swedish embassy officials also stated that all their embassy staff are currently safe and unharmed. On the other hand, Iraq's foreign ministry has condemned the incident and said that in a statement, the Iraqi government has instructed security forces to carry out a swift investigation and identify the perpetrators.
Hundreds of people stormed the Swedish embassy in Baghdad in the early hours of Thursday, setting it on fire in protest at the expected burning of the Quran in Sweden. The demonstration was called by supporters of Shiite cleric Muqtada Sadr, according to posts in a Telegram group linked to the cleric. Sadr is one of Iraq's most powerful figures, who commands hundreds of thousands of followers. Eyewitness video showed demonstrators carrying his portrait and chanting pro-Sadr slogans. The Swedish Foreign Ministry said all embassy staff were safe and condemned the attack. Iraq's Foreign Ministry issued a similar condemnation, vowing to conduct a swift investigation to identify the perpetrators and hold them to account. The protest was staged after Swedish police on Wednesday granted an application for a public meeting outside the Iraqi embassy in Stockholm. Police said in the permit, 2 people were expected to participate. According to local reports, the two planned to burn the Quran and the Iraqi flag at the public meeting, and included a man who previously set a Quran on fire outside a Stockholm mosque. That action in June sparked massive protests in several Muslim countries, including Iraq, with Baghdad seeking the man's extradition to face trial in the country. The United States also condemned it, but added that Sweden's issuing of the permit supported freedom of expression and was not an endorsement of the action.
And let me bring back my colleague Abhishek on this live stream. Abhishek, what is happening in Baghdad is a retaliation to what has happened in a twin incident of Quran burning in Sweden. What do we know about the second incident? Because I believe there was an act of brazening out the Quran burning, and there was an open call for burning it again, which was in fact done again in Sweden, and hence these protests are being seen in Baghdad. What are we knowing about the kind of reactions that have come in from the Baghdad authorities and also from the Swedish authorities as far as the Swedish embassy in Baghdad is concerned?
Well, one can see how this Swedish government, allowing this in the name of freedom of expression, that it has stretched a bit too far when this holy Quran was allowed to be burnt by an Iraqi immigrant himself, and he has burnt it twice, and another incidence of the same nature is planned ahead. And in that protest, this whole incidence of Swedish government allowing burning of Quran has invited widespread condemnation from across the world, from Muslim countries as well. So much so that India had also aligned with these Muslim countries and voted against a resolution on such in international human rights institutions at UN. But in Iraq, what we are witnessing is currently a political mobilization that is happening on the issue of this burning of Quran, where Muqtada al-Sadr, who also happened to be the son of a senior Shia cleric, is trying to mobilize his political narrative as well. What we saw in the embassy of Sweden was really unfortunate when the security system was breached and all the people they jumped in the building or the premise of Swedish embassy. Thankfully, the embassy staff and all diplomats in the Swedish embassy, they were safe and unhurt. And Swedish embassy has also released a statement saying that nobody was hurt and the safety of all the diplomats and the staff were maintained. But this also tells the situation that can go out of hand easily in these Muslim countries where the many Western countries and their diplomats have been staying, and Swedish government allowing this freedom of expression in the past has also created widespread condemnation and these type of protests across the world. But this time also, when it is happening now, Swedish government is also trying to put some sort of investigation in that case, where it is saying that this burning of this book was all right, but the person Momin was burning it very close to the monks, so probably he can be booked under some sort of law that he was trying to incite a religious animosity between the two community. But this looks like that Swedish government is also little taken aback by the kind of protests and outrage it has witnessed across the world, coming from various countries and officials from various countries, that in the
Okay.
name of freedom of expression, these sort of act of burning Quran should not be allowed by the Swedish government.